Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We have 334s. He is live doing some carp fishing over in Florida. We just sent him a invite so he can join up. And as soon as he joins in here, we'll see how he's doing. Hope you guys are having a great day. And we'll try to see how well this goes. If anybody else is interested in doing stuff like this, that would be awesome. I would love to do some live streams where you guys are out there fishing, keeping us updated on catching fish and whatnot. And I know he was saying that he has, I think he's got one in the sling already as well. So like I said, we'll wait for him to join in real fast. We were just in the studio together and I got kicked somehow. See if we can get him back in here. So how's it going, everybody? Who we got watching? Drop us a comment. Let us know how you're doing. Yo, what's up, Brian? How you doing, bud? Good, I hope. Said he's already got some fish in the sling down there, I reckon. So what's up, Outdoors with Dave? Jake, how you doing? There he is, right there.
Much because it's a little breezier now.
And we're live. We're live. I got kicked out of the last one somehow, so
Oh,
might be a good thing. I can see it better on this one so far.
that's good.
Great fishing. Sure looks like he's kind of got what we got. It's dreary here, and we got some rain going on. What do you got down there?
It's partly cloudy, 80 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour wind.
That 20-mile-an-hour winds isn't fun, but I've
Yeah.
seen worse. So
Yeah, it's a river, so it's not quite as bad because it snakes around. It doesn't get up to full speed. But this line of storms is moving through the east coast. All the storms are north of me, but the wind is still here.
Yeah, it's raining right here. That's why I went with the raining background there. So, sure is. We'll copy this out and share it to a couple places.
I sure got a good whack right before that thing dropped.
And how much action have you had? I know you got one in the sling, I believe, don't you?
Yeah, I've been here less than an hour and I've already got one. I've had another hard whack on that rod.
Yeah.
But that's all the action I've had so far. I haven't seen any shows yet, but I didn't get here. I wanted to come out here about 4 o'clock this morning, but I did that thing where you go to hit snooze and I hit off, so I didn't wake up.
That sounds intentional to me, brother.
I normally set 4 or 5 alarms, but when my old lady's got school, so I didn't set them for her because she's in grad school. That way there wasn't a bunch of alarms going off while I'm getting ready.
right, we're going to share this to a couple places real fast.
Sure like to see my little catfish rod go off.
What kind of bait you using today?
I've got a live shiner on my catfish rod. I'm fishing 3 different boilies. I'm fishing a scopex squid, which is what I picked that fish up on. It's a scopex squid topped off with a piece of fake corn.
Yeah.
20 miller. I'm fishing my go-to, which is a scopex. 15 mil scopex topped off with a 12 mil raspberry high vis pop up. I don't think the flavor does anything on those. I think it's just pink and the buoyancy.
Okay.
And the other one is a crab flavored boilie with the same pop up topper.
Gotcha. So, are you using pack bait to go with it, or are you using just like a chum mix that you got?
I normally use PVA. I either put in a handful of pellets in a PVA bag, or my mix I call bear poo, because it looks like a bear that just got in a bird feeder. It's got a lot of hemp in it, but somewhere between parking my car and walking the 10 yards down to where I'm fishing at, I don't know where my PVA stuff went.
I'll tell you what, PVA is kind of expensive, really. I mean,
it is, but I mean, I get over a month's worth of use out of less than $10 worth of PVA. And if you're not an idiot, don't lose the packer like I did. It's like $5 for a refill, so it's not bad at all. It just helps with tangles, and because I'm in a river, I don't think pack bait or the PVA mix helps that much. I think 90% of what it actually does is it attracts like shiners and small bait fish like that. And when they go to feeding on it, that sends off, vibrations to the water, and the other fish know that there is feeding going on in this area. So they come to investigate to see what the food source is. But I normally fish over a decent sized bed of bait. I put out 30 spawns here last night and 2, the big quart size feed scoops. I took 2 or 3 of them and just slung them out. And
so you got it pretty well baited in.
Yeah, and the fish hold in here, they spawn up in this area as well. Right now it's not optimal because the water level's so high. Where I like to fish is actually
where you're at.
it's in I'll tell you this, crappie are spawning. I don't know what the water temp actually is, but the crappie are up on the beds right now. Okay. And the high end of crappie spawning and the low end of carp spawning interact right there. And like off to this side of me, on my left side is all bushes and willows and stuff like that. And the water's up in there. So I think most of the fish are over there right now. But where they rest is actually out here in front of me. And if you put a piece of food in front of a resting fish, it's not going to say no to it.
Yeah. Well, right now is a good time of year to catch some fish too. Yo, what's up, Dylan? It's almost prime season, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, well, they'll be spawned out for me. I probably got another good week of fishing before they're hollow bellied.
Yeah. Well, what's the average size down there where you're
at? Low end is about 10 pounds, and the high end average is 15, 17.
Okay.
Like this fish is a good upper middle size fish. It's a nice male fish. He fought pretty good. Had to throw the handbrake on him.
Not a lot of real monsters down towards Florida then, huh?
No. It's very similar with big fish like this. Very similar to some. I'm a science nerd, so if you get me started, I will keep going and keep going. But if you look at a deer down here in Florida versus a deer up where you live, these are glorified Great Danes. They're tiny. I hit 2 of them and it barely totaled the car. But they're tiny animals. You don't have any cold weather, they have no reason to get big. When a bigger fish is easier or bigger animals, it's easier for it to hold body temperature.
Yeah.
Because it's got more mass and less surface area. When it's warmer, they don't need to do that. So these fish don't get very big. Number one, because they're in the river. I just had a fish show right over top of one of my rods. But they don't need to get very big because they don't have to stay warm through the winter. So they reach a size where they're too big for the flatheads to eat. We don't have alligator gar here. Too big for the bass to eat, and then they can just make as many babies as they make, and that's a successful life for that fish. So we don't get monsters. Now I want to fish up in the lake some this year, which is about 50 miles north of Lake Seminole. It's 52 square miles of water.
Yeah.
There's a guy who.
I would have thought down there that fish would get bigger because they could eat all year round, kind of like California, you know?
Well, there's a weird thing when you have warm weather and cold water. Think Japan, think California. They get monster bass in Japan, they get monster bass in California, they get monster carp in California. It's also very kind of Mediterranean-ish. If you live in an area where you can have both carp and trout and still have warm weather, I think that's the optimal growing cycle for them. That's what they have in a lot of France and a lot of that area. They just grow bigger fish that way. When you have this warm, this really, really hot weather like this, is these fish can sustain themselves and make tons of babies. They don't have really a full season where they have to do the living through the cold, and they don't have a reason to stock up on that.
You guys have like big bass down there, though, don't you? I mean,
that's a little bit south of here, and a little bit north of here. You can go up to Lake Gunnersville. There's some good-sized carp, but they're few and far between in Lake Eufaula, which is fairly close to where I actually live. Lake Eufaula at one point was known as the big bass capital of the world. You drive into Eufaula, Alabama, and you see the sign, big bass capital of the world. You get down to the Florida into Gunnersville, or not Gunnersville, into Okeechobee, you get big bass. I'm near Panama City, Florida. The big lake in Panama City is known for big bass, but it has no carp in it. And with common carp, they grow much slower than a grass carp. So grass carp grows really, really fast, really, really big. Common carp grow much slower.
I think it depends. I mean, we've got some lakes where they seem to grow, pretty fast. But it's like, I'm kind of in an area where we don't get a lot of big carp, but we have a few lakes that produce a lot of 20-pounders, but most of them, you're lucky if you catch 10 to 15 pounders,
Yeah, like last year, I wasn't working, I was just going to school, so whenever I was not in school, I was down here fishing, especially whenever the lockdowns first hit. They messed up our school schedule because I was going for FAA stuff, airplane mechanic, and we had to be there. There was no online stuff. So they would stagger our schedule, and I would have like 2 weeks off, and I would spend almost 2 weeks solid sitting here in this spot. And during that time, I would catch 40, 50 fish. 5 of them would be over 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Or pushing 20 pounds.
I mean, 20-pounder, I guess in my area, would be kind of considered a trophy fish. I have one lake that used to have a lot of 30s, but it's no longer that way due to bow fishermen. So
yeah. Up by the dam.
What's up, Randall?
Yeah, up by the dam at Lake Seminole is really well known for carp fishermen in the South. Like some guys in CAG that have ended up moving to the Tampa area have got in contact with me about looking for places to carp fish because there's only 2 bodies of water in the entire Florida that have common carp.
Yeah.
You have the Lake Talquin, that river flows out of Georgia, and I think it hits into the Apalachicola down below me. And then there's the Apalachicola River, which is the same river as the Chattahoochee River. It flows from Atlanta, hits Lake Seminole, and comes the Apalachicola from there to the bay. And then my home river, which is much harder to fish because of access. There's very little public access, and it's almost straighter, I guess would be the way to say it. It's really hard to fish it not on a boat. Yeah. And I think it actually produces a better quality of fish than this river does. I don't know why, but I feel it does. Now, the big bonus over there is we have a lot of freshwater mullet fishermen, and they whenever you're mullet fishing, you pile in the bait. You'll go through 40 pounds of rabbit food in the bait.
Yeah.
So that helps I think that helps to feed them up a little bit. And I think that's the one thing that people don't think about when it comes to European fish versus American fish is they're getting oilies or pellets all the time, which are made of things that help make them grow faster.
Yeah, yeah.
And our fish are just living off naturals, which is why we seem to have a lot more fish, but not as many big ones because they're reproducing. They're doing what they got to do to make babies.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we've got lakes like that up here that are the same way. Some of them fish don't get over 10 pounds, you know?
Yeah.
And
I've
I
caught.
think genetics has a lot to do with it too, because some lakes, I mean, you know, they're almost all of them are big, and in other lakes there isn't a big fish in it, you know?
It could. One thing about this area is they're not, like I said, they're not very widespread. We only have them in these two rivers. Uh,
Yeah,
One of the things up north that does it is these fish, they make babies in grass, right? Ducks eat the grass, they fly off, and they poop out eggs somewhere else. They've done research and found that out of, I think, 1,000 eggs, on average, 5 to 10 will pass through a duck and still be viable. So
yeah,
that's how they spread, and that's how they may get dumped into some bodies of water intentionally as a food fish 100 years ago. But then, as they go on, they're eating up a bunch of their spawn. Ducks are eating some of the spawn, and the ducks are spreading it around.
yeah,
So there's a number of
yeah.
different things. These fish
I
got
didn't.
here by people dumping them in to eat, probably up around Atlanta, because we don't have any wintering ducks down here or any summering ducks down here, other than
Yeah.
wood ducks. And wood ducks don't really do the whole grass eating thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I watch carp spawn all the time when I'm fishing, and like, heck, I had no idea, man. It looked to me like they just beat each other up. Yeah,
They get side by side, and he
they,
starts doing his thing, she starts doing her thing, and the tail beats mix it all together.
oh yeah,
And then
they
they
look
turn
like they're
around and
having a good time, I reckon.
oh yeah, they turn around as soon as they're done and go to eating as many of the other carp they can find as eggs as possible.
Yeah, yeah, I
And that way
know
that
from the research that I've done, you know, carp are they're not what I forget what they called it. You know, like over here, they're not a. I guess they're called a naturalized species or
yeah,
something like that, where they've been here long enough, and they really don't overpopulate unless their population is threatened. You
yeah,
know, from what I've read, once they have an established population, they'll eat most of their eggs,
yeah.
and you know they. But once if something takes a hit to them, you know, and they lose half their population, they'll let a lot of them hatch, which does cause a problem because you get millions of the really little ones,
Yeah,
and it takes
and
years before it stabilizes again. You
bass will
know.
do the same thing. If you have a very weedy lake or pond, then you're going to have
Yeah.
huge numbers of fry surviving every year. And they will overpopulate faster than any fish besides maybe a crappie. Something
Yeah.
about it. Nothing eats baby crappie. And they will
Hmm.
overpopulate any pond you put them in. It's a guarantee that it'll happen.
Yeah.
But these things in here,
Bass. Who likes bass, man? Come on. Who
green
wants?
trash fish, they're barely even good to eat. Why would someone want to catch one of
You know, my dad he eats fish, and he won't eat a
those? I do.
bass. He tried them a couple times, and he said they're terrible. So
I don't see what people are talking about whenever they say
yeah.
that. I don't know what it is. Throw that bad boy in some icy water when you catch him, slap the sides off of him, and it tastes like fish. But I grew up eating warm water fish, and I went north a few times, and I got fed some walleye, and I was not a fan.
Yeah.
I wasn't a
I
fan of
don't
it. It
eat
was a little
fish, so
mushy to
I
me.
couldn't tell you. Have you ever
I,
eaten carp?
I have. I used to, before I'd done a lot of this research, probably the first 5 or 6 I caught, I killed because I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And eventually I was like, these things are okay to eat. If you brine them, you can fry them, and if you had a couple beers, then they taste pretty good then. If you smoke them, they're actually really good. But it's
Yeah.
it's a fair bit of work for about half of the fillet being edible because they have a huge bloodline that you're not going to get rid of.
Yeah, my dad, he's ate some carp, and they smoke it, and he said it's like the best tasting fish, really.
Yeah, but people up there also probably turn their nose up to suckers, and around here, that's an absolute delicacy.
Really?
We throw baskets in the creeks to catch them. These old slap
From what I've
baskets.
seen on like YouTube, it appears a lot of people snag suckers.
Yeah, we snag mullet. We don't snag suckers. We snatch
Yeah.
mullet out with treble hooks. But we
Yeah,
personally do it. We go way down to the bay, right
yeah,
on the Choctawhatchee Bay, so we don't have any carp in that area. But I have caught
yeah,
carp at my spot that's closest to my house on the Choctawhatchee River that have had 3 different sets of treble hooks in their side, and one of them still had the
yeah.
tip of the brim buster on it.
Hmm.
But they will.
I've never intentionally snagged a fish, but like I said, I've
It's
seen on YouTube where they did it to suckers. So
it's fun. Right here in this spot during the summertime, I'll actually catch mullet, but I haven't. I figured out a way to get them to eat a fly.
yeah,
So I'll get them. You always drop some of your bait right at your feet, and the hemp seed and the pellets that all attracts them in because they're saltwater fish that comes up in the freshwater. They love all that salt that's in
yeah,
my bait. So they'll be milling around, turning the water in front of them flat. And I'll just watch them, and when he goes down and picks up a mouthful and starts to come back up, you drop a fly right in front of him and hit him. And they'll
yeah.
dance around, and they'll give
Yo,
you a good
what's up,
pull on a
Joel?
fly rod.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Used to use a lot of hemp seed myself. I used to use the Himalayan rock salt in my baits a
I
lot
just use
too,
ice cream salt, personally.
but the same. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just cheaper.
the Himalayan's pretty cheap if you buy a big bag of it.
Yeah,
But I haven't used it in a couple years. I didn't really. Once I quit, I kind of didn't notice a difference in catch rate, so I just haven't
uh,
used it in a while.
I'll tell you one thing that we do down here for mullet that would probably, especially if you're looking to pre-bait without putting out a lot of bait, get a salt block from the feed store and a
Yeah,
screwdriver. Take that screwdriver and drive it in so that you make little, yay big by yay big size blocks, and chunk that guy out in your area, and he'll slowly dissolve in the water. We'll go through 3 or 4 of those size in an afternoon of mullet fishing, and it
yeah,
brings in carp just like it brings in mullet.
yeah. I've heard of carp fishermen actually taking big chunks of salt and throwing it in like their swim a few days in advance and doing it for a few days to kind of get them to come in there. I guess
Yeah.
something about it, that they
There's
like
some
it a lot. I
there's some
guess.
lakes over in the UK that have banned using pure salt because people were spotting out salt, just covering their swim in salt, and it
Yeah,
killed all the vegetation at the bottom of the lake, and
yeah,
that in turn messed the lake up.
yeah,
That's like in a lot of their lakes, you can't use particles unless you buy them there, and then some lakes completely ban them because they've had problems with especially tiger nuts. Same rods trying to go off again. Especially tiger nuts don't have enough nutrition, but have so much attraction that the carp will
yeah,
just hone in on them. And if people are just going, they're eating tiger nuts, they're not. They'll throw out enough tiger nuts that they can starve the fish.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's like anything else. Like millet, if you get a bunch in there, then, like I said, they eat it and they crap it out, and it's an endless cycle of eating it and crapping it out. You know what I mean? There's no nutrition. But I think if you're in a nice open place and, you know, I
Yeah,
don't see anything wrong with it.
if you're in a big natural lake or a big reservoir, a big river like this fish, when
Yeah,
I pull him up, he's gonna have spit out all kinds of clamshells. The little small Asian clams that are around
yeah,
everywhere. They eat them up when we catch blue cats in here in the summertime. Their whole entire digestive system, from stomach all the way through to the end of their intestines, will be full of these clamshells.
oh yeah, yeah.
And
They love the mussels and all that
they
good
eat
stuff.
that. They'll go find bloodworms and do all that stuff. But when you put these fish in what I would call a small pond, a medium-sized pond, and it's got 10 people fishing on it every day, putting in, at least a kilo of bait a day, these fish are going to switch from feeding on those naturals, they're feeding on this human bait, and then when human bait loses its nutritional value, it's going to become detrimental to the fish.
Well, I've always been told that if you have a bait that's high in protein, while you may not see results immediately with it, but if you stick with it long enough in the same spot, that the carp will eventually quit eating other people's stuff and only go to the high protein. I don't know if that's true or not.
The way I feel like it is it's the higher nutritional value, at least of certain things, protein, carbohydrates, fats, the higher overall attraction it's going to get. Because just like us, they put a ton of sugar and a ton of fat in everything, including like the bread at McDonald's. And that's so that your body craves this thing that you ate that had everything it wanted in excess. So it was able to store it for you. And I think it's the same way with the fish. When their body figures out if I eat these little round balls that they don't know are made of all kind of nutrients, minerals, oils, fish meal, that kind of stuff, that's when they start to really hone in on things like boils. Is because their body starts to figure out if I eat this little round thing, it don't only taste good, it makes me feel good. So they keep coming back and coming back and coming back. And that's where you can get in trouble with corn and stuff like that because it's full of carbohydrates and sugars, but it's not full of a lot of anything else. And their body will go, I'm getting tons of something that's making me happy from this, so I'm going to keep eating it. And if you keep introducing it, it can become a problem. But on a massive lake with 1 million carp in it, you're not going to cause a problem.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well. I'm looking forward to going up to Lake Michigan at least a few times this year. That's always a fun place to go. I've only been once, but had a blast up there. A lot of big fish.
Yeah, that's a place that's on my bucket list. Fish there, fish DH.
Yeah.
Rosedale Hollow is 10 hours north of me. So that's
Well,
going to
Lake
be a whole.
Michigan's a lot farther.
Nah, it's 24.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who works for a company that built substations, and they were right off of Lake Erie, and it was like 24-hour drive.
Yeah, I fished it on the Indiana side. I think it's about a 3.5 or 4 hour drive for me. So
I
it's a
think I'm
pretty
going
good
to
haul. But
go up to Huntsville, Birmingham area some this year and try to catch my first buff out of the Tennessee River.
yeah, that'd be
Because
cool.
a lot of the cool fish that people think I have down here, because I live in the South, their range like ends along the Alabama River. It leaves like the bottom quarter of the state just without cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like alligator gar, leave right there. There's the state of Florida has found exactly, I think, like 117 alligator gar in this river. That's the total population. And it's the only place in the state that has it. So,
Yeah, I've
like,
never seen one in person. I've seen gar, but never an
uh,
alligator gar in person. So they look pretty
we went
scary on the internet.
we went to New Orleans in November for my buddy's bachelor party. We just stayed at the place that we went to the whole time and caught redfish and trout off the dock. There was this big white thing floating around. And it finally clicked in my head that was an alligator gar. And in my gear, I had one 5-aught catfish hook. And I put that thing on a wire leader that one of my buddies bought, and it straightened almost to the bar that it bent the hook whenever it spit it out.
Yeah.
But it was a decent, 70-pound fish, and
Oh yeah, I'm
it
sure.
bent
Yeah.
my gear. Oh,
I don't know
that's the
if
only one
you've
I've ever seen.
ever down at Del Hollow. I've seen videos and stuff where supposedly there's alligators down there.
Oh, there's
So that'd
alligators
be
out
pretty
here,
wild, right?
and
Yeah.
in the nighttime out here, I'll wear a headlight and I'll look around. Maybe some coons over here on the side. And I'll start looking when the coons are doing their little washing thing and look up and there'll be a set of eyes coming across the river.
Yeah.
I had an 8-footer last year wipe out all 3 of my rods and try to eat my spot and I'm drilling it back in.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it can get a little hairy, but I ain't worried about alligator. Uh, that being said, a family friend of ours does alligator trapping. And last August killed a an 1,100-pound, 13-foot alligator. Not too far south of here. Yeah, there's some monsters in this area.
That's a big one. I won't test my luck with them. If there's any around, I'll just stay clear of them. You know what I mean?
An alligator would have to be over 10 foot before he could think about hurting a person. He could hurt you, but before he's going to think about it, is another story.
I mean, if I seen a big one, I'd just go the other way. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Don't make any splashes on the surface. Throwing a top water.
I'll just move.
I've caught many of them trying to bass fish on top water. They'll eat a frog like a bass fish. You can just kiss your gear goodbye.
I've seen a lot of videos like that where people are reeling in a fish and they eat it too. You know?
Yeah. One thing with alligators that a lot of people don't think about is when you look at a turtle, like a river cooter or just any kind of turtle like that, the reason his shell is domed up is so that he will shoot out the side of an alligator's mouth. That is the main thing that an alligator eats is turtles and snakes. And then once he gets up around 8 foot, they'll start eating coons and possums and stuff like that. It comes to the edge of the water, and then once he gets up over 10 feet, he might start thinking about baby hogs and deer. But they don't eat. They're not fish eaters. They're eating turtles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They'll chase coops around the pond. That's about it. I actually had one pick up a duck that we shot during kill season one year.
So you live in Florida, or did you live in Alabama?
I live 5 miles from the Florida line in the state of Alabama. But my lady lives in Bluntstown. So I'm right here on the Apalachicola River all the time, so I started fishing here. And it's a little easier to fish than my home river. There's not as many. Like I said, there's a bunch of outlet fishermen down there, so there'll be folks down there snatching treble hooks up in the air, and it's just easier to stay out and play down here.
So do you have 2 fishing licenses in, or are you able to use one for both states?
2 fishing licenses. It's like $16 for Alabama and $50 for Florida.
Yeah, because you're out of state.
Out of state's $50 in Florida. You know, the more people who come to do a thing, the more affordable it is. So tons of folks come down here to fish. So fishing licenses are pretty affordable.
Gotcha. Let's see that fish, man. I want to take a look at that bad boy. I want to see how big it is.
Alrighty. I was about to ask how many folks in here do we want to go get
looks like.
I don't think he's going to look much different. I'm going to set y'all off on my cooler, and I'm going to go get him.
All right, sounds good.
Grab a couple of screenshots for me, because I haven't got any pictures of him. Yeah, that'll be all right.
See what this Florida carp looks like, man.
Oh. Good and yellow. I don't believe this fish has ever been caught before. Little low team.
Nice. Yeah, I can see it.
There's the other side of him.
Yeah, I didn't know if the colors would be brighter or anything, but yeah, it looks about like the ones up here.
Oh, yeah. He's a ton of little shells in this net, in this retaining sling here.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing about using one of these is you get to keep the fish around a little bit and he'll spoil his dinner.
Yeah. I know they love mussels and stuff. Absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, that's a little male fish. Yeah, he's not spawned out and he's not pot bellied, so gonna have to be a male
Yeah.
this time of year.
Yeah, he looks long, kind of skinny like a male. So.
Yeah, long river fish.
Yep. Those females, they're kind of like our females. We like a little meat on their bones. You know what I'm saying?
Thick with 3 C's. Yeah, I'm gonna go put this guy back. Is
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
else?
go ahead.
All right.
Yep, Randall said sweet.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Joel, how big was the ones you caught earlier today, bud? If you're still watching.
While I'm down here, I'm gonna reel up and check my rods.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll full screen it there, and they can watch it. Somebody commented on Facebook and said they fish in Florida. You might hit them up. I don't know, Danny Beck. You might hit them up if you're interested.
This right here was the rig that did that fish in. It's a little Scopex squid boilie
Nice.
with a piece of baked corn. I think it's this 18 mil bait on number 6 hook, 2-ounce weight.
Yeah, looks good. Got me hungry just looking at it.
And I said the Scopex squid don't smell too good, but the regular Scopex, that'll make you hungry.
Yeah. I hear the noise, but I can't tell what you're doing. The frames are dropping.
I'm slingshotting out some range cubes.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I can't even tell. The frames are dropping real bad.
Yeah, I'm on the other side.
I hear it though.
Put out 15 to 20 of those.
I know a lot of people like range cubes. I've never really used them much.
I feel when you use boilies like I use, they're a really good substitute for them as a free loose feed.
Yeah. They're pretty cheap too, so.
Yeah, a 50-pound bag, $10, and you can fling them out with a slingshot just absent-mindedly. It ain't hurting the fishing, I can tell you that.
I've heard of people drilling holes in them and using them for hook baits too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that too, but they dissolve too fast in warm water for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've chummed with them a few times, but not many.
And this my mix. See if I can switch you to front face. Yeah. This is my mix that I'm using as a free loose feed. And to
Gotcha.
fish today, and I'd be able to fish another amount.
Yeah.
Is a pellet called Come and Get It. If you can't use, just use sweet feed. Makes a good substitute. They're nothing alike, but they work equally as well.
Sweet.
And it's
Sweet
about.
feed is good. I've used it many times.
There's about a half a kilo of different boilies in here, all in different things that I would be using fishing out here. I crushed most of them just between my fingers so that they're loose in here. And there's 6 pounds on the big 6-pound cans of sweet corn and a gallon sack full of boiled deer corn.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never heard of those one pellets. Chum and Get It, you said. Never heard of them.
I'll put out 2 spots. Yeah.
Where do you get those at?
Hometown. Well, they're made in my home. But if you have a farmer's co-op, you can probably get them. Because I know they sell Harold Milling Company supplies all the way down here, about 100 miles away.
Gotcha. Where do you get your hemp seed and stuff?
I order it 5 kilos at a time from Big Carp Tap. Whenever I see it in,
really?
I'm getting low. Yep, 5 kilos dry. When I cook my maize and birdseed, or my deer corn and birdseed, whatever you want to call it, if I'm making boilies, we'll cook the boilies in that water. But I've kind of got away from making my own boilies now that I have a little bit of money.
Yeah. So you buy, what, 10 pounds at a time? Is that what 5 kilos is?
Yeah, that's about right. Kilo is about 2.2 pounds, so it's 11-ish pounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it'd be about 11. How much is that? Because you might be overpaying, brother.
$20 plus $5 worth of shipping, and if you get a bunch of other stuff, every one shipping cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. You can buy from Lizzie Mae. They sell hemp seed, 50-pound bags. I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah.
Seemed like it might have went up a little bit.
I am.
Like everything else.
Yeah, pretty much everything's going to be the same shipping cost unless it's coming from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, Lizzie Mae, I mean, they have different retail places and stuff too, but I believe they ship as well. I think it's an Amish ran business, to be honest.
Yeah, then that would be
they
up
sell
in
a lot of cool stuff like that.
If that's up around Pennsylvania, it'd still probably be about the same shipping cost. for me.
Yeah, I mean, you're all the way down south, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oklahoma versus Pennsylvania, so.
But I can't remember what the last bag cost. But yeah, hemp, it's a good, definitely a good bait.
Oh yeah.
Carp seem to love it, so.
When the water's still and they get in the spot, because I use that chum and get it pellet or sweet feed if you don't
Yeah,
have it. I use it to soak up all the leftover juice in that hemp mix so it doesn't go to waste.
yeah.
And when the fish start feeding out there, you'll see a slick rise up.
Yeah.
Because I use
And like I
3
said,
dry
I
cups.
I had never heard of chum and get it. I've never heard of that
It's
before. So.
it's a local made product that is probably available if you go to the right place.
Yeah.
It used to be a dog food, but people would
Okay.
call the police on you if you fed it to your dog of a dog food.
Oh wow.
But it's sunk and
Yeah.
mullet filled it. So its entire
Yeah.
purpose was used for mullet fishing, and they just finally said screw it
Okay.
and dumped a bunch of fish oil into it and made it into a different shape. So now it's called chum and
Yeah.
get it.
Okay. Yeah,
Anyone in the
I've
southeastern
never
should
heard of
probably be
that.
able to get it.
Have you ever tried Purina Aquamax? It's expensive, but it really is. It's a big deal for carp, and catfish love it too.
I haven't. I've used a little bit of some sinking catfish feed before in my baits, but I didn't notice any
Yeah.
difference between that and say sweet feed, for example. I didn't see any difference in attraction. And because
Yeah.
I'm fishing the river, it's not, once it dissolves, it's not going to stick around. It's going to float down the river. So we
The
started having the chum and get it for the mullet fishing, so I just started using it.
Yeah, the Aquamax, it's not going to break down and dissolve. It's mainly fish meal is what it is, and
Yeah,
you know how expensive fish meal is, so it's
it
quite
ain't cheap.
expensive. It's about $2 a pound for the Aquamax, but it is good stuff. I will say. The only sad thing
That,
about it is if you get the fish hooked on it, um, you just about have to use it to catch fish
yeah,
once you
get
get
them
them hooked
hooked
on
on
it.
it, and then you start mixing in some, if you can find a good price for them, some fish meal boilies.
Yeah. Well,
Because
you could.
you can get,
I mean,
you
really,
can get
you could put
5 or,
some in boilies. You know,
yeah,
they're
I
very,
have
very
boilies.
small.
When I first started making boilies, I was using feed that I took, and I would sit in front of the TV with a sifter and sift it till the dust fell out. And I would
Yeah,
use that dust in my boilie mix because of how much rabbit food goes in around here.
yeah, yeah. Well, brother, I think I need to get off here and get ready. I bowl tonight. You do any bowling, Lane, or?
I messed my shoulder up in high school in a car wreck, so I don't.
Okay, no bowling.
Yeah.
Now, hey, you can always switch to the other arm, man.
And my left hand is, we'll just say it's special. It's not very coordinated.
Hey, I'm left-handed, baby. So,
I was born
um,
left-handed and beat till I was right-handed because that's the mark of the devil to my great-grandmother.
really,
Yeah, started coloring on my left
some
hand,
people.
and it was not kosher around
Yeah,
some old
I've
people.
heard that. I've heard redheads have no souls. I've heard a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Left-handers are
that
the devil.
that's just from dealing with redheads. We came to that excuse. Apparently, it's in the Bible about left-handedness.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
I like to think I'm not the devil, but I guess you never
Oh,
know,
fish, fish,
man.
fish!
All right, we got one on. All right, we'll watch it. You got one on, guys. We'll stick around and check it out.
Oh,
See what he's got.
can you see anything?
Yeah, I can see it.
God.
Like I said, the frames are dropping dead, but I can see it. He's fighting. I hear that.
You burned my finger trying to.
I heard the drag.
This is on my leg. I never took the 10-pound line that came off of this off.
Uh-oh. Fish on, guys. Fish on. You guys are just joining in. He's got a fish on right now.
And the 4-wheel drive on my Crocs is broke.
He broke his Crocs too, guys.
I think he's starting to come up in the water column some, so that's good.
Yeah. How deep is the water where you're fishing at?
Anywhere from 10 to 20, depending on how far out you go.
Gotcha.
I'm fishing, my rods are actually in about 8 to 10 feet of water.
Okay.
But out in the current, it gets pretty deep, and there's actually some sunk houseboats over here from Hurricane Michael.
Yeah.
So all my other rods are rigged up with 30-pound braid and a 30-pound top shot to keep them from getting cut off. This one is, I think, 10 to 15-pound shot because I keep getting cut off by the fins.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear the line singing in the wind?
Yes, I can. It sounds scary. Sounds like it's out of a horror movie.
Just felt it ping off his hand. Shaking his head.
Yeah, that wind hitting that line kind of sounds like something out of Children of the Corn or something.
Now down here, it'd been more like Children of the Cotton or Children of the Peanuts. Got a boat coming in. Where I'm fishing's right here at a boat ramp, so. This is on the Scopex Raspberry pop-up combo.
Okay.
And this is the guy who's building the houseboat. That's probably why there's someone idling up there watching me.
He's got one on, guys, if you're just joining in. He's seemed like it was fighting pretty good.
Oh, it's time to get wet, y'all.
Definitely pulling the drag out there. I heard that.
I know where he's at. That's not a good spot for him to be. And he's across my catfish line.
How many rods can you use where you fish at?
As many as I dang well please.
Really? That's cool.
And he's in my catfish line. Healing drag on that other rod.
We can use 4 here in Indiana, or I mean 3 here in Indiana, but I wish a guy could use 4.
When we go down to the Gulf and surf fish, we'll sometimes use as many as 12 or 13 rods between 3 people.
Yeah.
But when you get a school of pompano come in, you want every one of them.
Gotcha.
In the net, baby.
All right.
What'd you say? You dang right I do. Guy come up on the bank and said, you ain't lying when you say you can catch a carp.
That's like the size that they were in this mill pond, eh?
Nah, the ones in the mill pond get up to 40 or 50 pounds, but there's a grass carp. This is a 20 all day.
Sweet.
Look at this guy. And you don't feel them?
Nah. Yeah. Hardest fighting fish in freshwater, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like imagine getting on a school of big bull reds, except you can do it sitting on the bank drinking beer.
Yeah, I snagged them in the mill pond before just with a treble hook. Man, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only one I've ever seen them catch out here.
Yeah. There's a couple guys who come to some places around here. They come from as far down south as Tampa. Let's get him over to the map.
Oh, he's fat.
Slam full of eggs. All right, see if I can get y'all set up where y'all can see.
Yeah, let's check it out. We're going to end it on a good note here by getting to see a fish. Love it.
Whoever comes behind me. You can just set it down, man. Old boy came up. It was in the parking lot.
Yeah. I see a couple people there.
Doing a live stream thing here, just watch your language out. This is a very, very pregnant female.
Let's check her out.
Look,
Top fin? Okay.
hold that top fin and hold the top of the
Nice.
tail up for me.
Nice. Yeah, now we know what the other one was doing. He was looking for her, wasn't he? That one's a lot brighter than the other one as well.
Grabbing some screenshots for me, boss.
Huh, sir?
The first one was a little bit darker.
That one's over 20 if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty fish.
I'm going to see if I can't make you
Sure
see the
did.
water. I'm going to go put this guy back, bring this girl back. Might be a good place to end her.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry about that. I'm coming down here, y'all.
Yo, what's up, Eric? Randall said gorgeous fish. It was a pretty fish.
That'll have to do. Oh.
where he's at, huh, guys? We got them shorts on getting in the water. We did that up here, we'd be freezing. Yep.
I am freezing. This water's 60 degrees.
It ain't no 60 up here.
Going back down the river, y'all. We could hear you say you was fixing to leave. That you want to be a movie star.
Just like a woman, she wanted to get all the attention right there.
Can't argue with that logic, though. I took a breath.
Hey guys, if you haven't, make sure you check his channel out, 334 Outdoors on YouTube there. And
there'll be a video coming out, I think, middle of the week, next week, from the last time I was down here. It's not the greatest in the world, but I did get one fish on camera.
Nice.
So I think I'm going to put it out since I can't even keep my camera standing up today from the wind.
Yeah, I'd imagine the wind would blow it over.
It did. That first fish, I turned it on.
What kind of camera do you use?
Action camera, because I'm cheap. I didn't really like buying a real GoPro.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, GoPro's a good camera. I mean, there's other stuff. It all works, you know what I mean? I didn't know if you use like a DSLR or mirrorless or not. I don't like to take my mirrorless fishing anymore, just in case wind or somebody knocks it over, you know? Too expensive for somebody to tear it up.
So I'll probably invest in a good camera because I like doing this.
Yeah,
but at this point,
GoPro,
I don't.
Man, I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I just don't have enough folks right now to justify spending it, even though I do like doing this.
Well, you gotta invest in yourself, brother. Don't worry about the people or anything. Invest in yourself. You know?
Yeah, and I can make content I'm somewhat happy with the stuff I've got. So
yeah.
Until I start having a reason to get more than that, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Can't tell if I'm being loud to y'all or not. One of my headphones just cut out.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's 4:26 here. I usually leave a little after 4:30, so I'm gonna call it so I can finish getting ready and see if I can't do some bowling tonight and win some points in that.
Alrighty. Y'all have a good one.
We'll catch y'all on the next one. And you guys, like I said, make sure you check his channel out, 334 Outdoors on YouTube. And maybe we'll do it again sometime. Peace out. See you, brother.
See y'all.